Talk about certain aspects of rural administration now. There are more than 6 lakh villages in India, and taking care of their needs of water, the electricity, the road connections is not a small task. And in addition to this, land records have to be maintained, and there are conflicts also that too need to be dealt with. A large machinery is in place to deal with all this. So in this discussion, we'll look at work of 2 rural administrative officers in some detail. So there are 2 men. Mohan, he is a farmer. His family owns a small agricultural land which they have been farming for many years. And next to his field is Raghu's land. This is Raghu, which is separated from his land by a small boundary. We call it as a bund. Now one morning, Mohan, he noticed that Raghu has shifted the bund by a few feet, and by doing so, he had managed to take over some of Mohan's land and increase the size of his own land. Now Mohan got angry. He got angry, as this is natural, but also a little frightened. Raghu's family owned many fields, and besides, his uncle was also a sarpanch of the village. But even so, he plucked the courage and he went to Raghu's house. A heated argument followed, and Raghu refused to accept that he had moved the bund. He called one of his helpers, and they began shouting at Mohan and beating him up. The neighbors heard the commotion and rushed to the spot where Mohan was being beaten up. They took him away. He was badly hurt on his head and hand. He was given first aid by one of his neighbors. His friend, who also ran the village post office, suggested that they go to the local police station and they should file a report. Others were doubtful if this was a good idea because they felt they would waste a lot of money and nothing would come out of it. Some people said that Raghu's family would have already contacted the police station. So after much discussion, it was decided that Mohan would go to the police station. Mohan would go to the police station along with some of the neighbors who had seen the incident, who are witness to the incident, that is the Mohan was beaten up by Raghu and his helper. Now they went to the police station. Here is a police officer. Here you have Mohan. So on the way to the police station, one of the neighbors asked, why don't we spend more money and go to main police station in the town? It is not question of money. We can register the case only in this police station because our village comes in its area of work. This was explained by Mohan. Every police station has a jurisdiction, you can say, has an area that comes under its control. So all persons in that area can report cases or inform the police about any theft, accident, injury or fight. So it is the responsibility of the police of that station to inquire, to investigate and take action on the cases within this area. So the work at the police station, now when he reached the police station, when they reached the police station, Mohan went to the person in charge, we call them as SHO or station house officer, and told him what had happened. He also said that he wanted to give the complaint in writing. The SHO rudely brushed him aside, saying that he couldn't be bothered to waste his time writing down minor complaints and then investigating them. Mohan showed him his injuries, but the SHO did not believe him. Mohan was puzzled and did not know what to do. He was not sure why his complaint was not being recorded. He went and called his neighbors into the office. They argued strongly that Mohan had been beaten up in front of them, and had they not rescued him, he would have been injured very seriously. Now they insisted that the case be registered. Finally, the officer agreed. He asked Mohan to write down his complaint and also told the people that he would send a constable the next day to investigate the incident. And what you saw in this discussion, or you can say a short story of conflict, you saw that Mohan, we are talking about maintenance of land records, you saw that Mohan and Raghu were arguing heatedly whether the common boundary of their field had been shifted. Isn't there a way by which they could have settled this dispute in a peaceful manner? Are there records that show who owns that lands in the village? Yes, it is. So measuring land and keeping land record is the main work of the Patwari. The Patwari is known by different names in different states. In some villages, such officers are called Lekpal. In others, Kanungo or Karmachari or village officer. So we will call him as Patwari. Each Patwari is responsible for a group of villages. The Patwari maintains and updates, this is important, he also maintains and updates the records of the village. The map and the corresponding details from the register on the next page will see it was the records which was kept by Patwari, and we'll see how Raghu and Mohan land is shown there. The Patwari usually has ways of measuring agriculture fields, so in some places a long chain is used. In this instance which we just saw, the Patwari would have measured both Mohan's and Raghu's field and compared them with the measurement of the map. If they did not match, then it would be clear that the boundary of the field had been indeed changed. So the Patwari is also responsible for organizing the collection of land revenue from the farmers and providing information to the government about the crops which are grown in the area. So this is done from the records that are kept, and this is why it's important for the Patwari to regularly update these ads, because farmer may change the crops grown in their fields, or someone may dig a well somewhere. So updation is also very important. So here is the Hazara record of the Patwari. This gives us the information regarding the map. This is a map. So it identifies which plot of the land is owned by whom. So we'll look at these records and the map and answer the question regarding Mohan and Raghu land. So this is the area in hectare. So 0.75 in hectare. Mohan, who is the son of Raja Ram, who lives in Amrapura village. So Mohan has this much of land and he is growing soya bean. While Raghu Ram, he is the son of Ratan Lal, again from the village Amrapura. He has 3 hectares of land and he is growing soya bean, wheat, etc. And the other land, which is number 3, so this is 1, 2 and this is 3. So third number land is actually the government land. So Madhya Pradesh government grassland is this one. So who owns the land south of Mohan's field? See, there is a legend. These are the boundary. This is the well. This is the grassland. This is the kacha road. This is the pakka road or a gravel road. And these are trees. So who owns the land south of Mohan's field? See, Mohan field is number 1. See, this is number 1. So Mohan field is number 1. Number 2 is the Raghu's field. So who owns the land south of Mohan field? This is number 2, which is Raghu's land. Mark the common boundary between Mohan and Raghu land. So this is the common boundary. Who can use field number 3? This field number 3 belongs to Madhya Pradesh government. And what information can one get for field number 2 and field number 3? So field number 2 has one well. Field number 3 is a grassland, grass is there, and one well with certain trees. And they both are connected, or they both have a boundary with the Kacha road. So what we were discussing is, now the farmers may grow some other crop, they may dig some well somewhere, and keeping track of all this is the work of the revenue department of the government. So senior people in this department, they supervise the Patwari's work. So all states in India are divided into districts, and for managing matters related to land, these districts, they are again further subdivided. And this subdivision of district, they are known as different names such as Tehsil, Taluka. So at the head is the district collector. Under her are revenue officers, also known as Tehsildars, and they have to hear disputes. They also supervise the work of the Patwaris and ensure the records are properly kept and land revenue is collected. So they make sure that the farmers can easily obtain a copy of their record. Students can obtain their caste certificates. And the Tehsildar office is where land disputes are also heard. So farmers often require a copy of their land record together with a map, as we just saw in the figure. They have a right to this information. They may have to pay a small fee for this. However, this information is not easily made available, and farmers sometimes have to face many problems to get it, their own record. So in some states, records are now being computerized and also kept at the panchayat office so that they are more easily available and regularly updated. So this is a daughter wish. In 2005, there was, we'll talk about that, there is a rule that the women of the house, the girl of the house, they should also get some, a part of land when there is a partition. So this is a daughter wish. Father inherited our house from his father, and everyone says he will leave it to brother. But what about me and my mother? They both are females. So to expect a share in my father's home, I'm not very womanly, I'm told. I'm not very womanly. But I really want a piece of my own, not dowry of silk or gold. This is from the reflections on my family from Tis Anjali Monteiro, right? So we are talking about this rule. This is a new law actually. It's not a rule, it's a law. This is Hindu Succession Amendment Act 2005. So often when we think of farmers, we own land, we think of men. Women are seen as people who works on the fields, but not as people who own agricultural land. So till recently, in some states, Hindu women did not get a share in the family's agricultural land. So after the death of the father, his property was equally divided among his sons. So recently, the law was changed. In the new law, sons, daughter and their mothers can get an equal share in the land. And the same law will apply to all states and union territories of the country. So this law will benefit a large number of women. For instance, Sudha. Sudha is the eldest daughter of an agriculture family. Now she is married and lives in a neighboring village. After her father's death, Sudha often comes to help her mother with the farming work. Now her mother has asked the Patwari to transfer the land and enter her name along with the names of all the children in his record. So Sudha's mother confidently organizes the farming with the help of the younger brother and sister. Similarly, Sudha also lives with an assurance that if she ever has a problem, she can always depend on her share of the land. So there are other public services also. This discussion has looked at some of the administrative work of the government, especially in rural areas. The first example which we talked about was related to maintaining law and order, and second was maintaining the land record. In the first case, we examined the role of the police, and the second that of the Patwari. So this work is supervised by other people in the department such as Tehsildar and Superintendent of Police. So we also have seen people use these services and some of the problems that they face. And these services have to be used and made to function according to the laws that have been framed for them. So you have probably seen many other public services and facilities provided by various departments and the government. And so this is what is happening. You can talk about various milk society, fair price shop, bank, police station, agriculture society for seeds and fertilizers, the post office, the sub post office, the Anganwadi, the creche, the government schools, the health center or government hospital. These all are the public services which are for the betterment of the society, of the village people, and this is from the government. That is the government we have chosen. So we will try to fill this when we will go for the question answers.